Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to solve this LeetCode Contest 481 problems. I will try to solve them live. So let's get started with the first question. So we are given an integer n, and we want to find the mirror distance. So basically, uh, let's say n is equals to 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the reverse of n is just the reverse of this number. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 2. So we want to subtract these two, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and whatever we get is the answer. So in case you don't know how to reverse a number, there is a standard procedure. For example, let's say n is equals to 451. So now let's say we want to the first process for the reversal of this number is extraction of digits. So first we want to extract, basically we want to extract these 4, 5 and 1 separately. So what we do is we take 451 and first we take a modulo with 10. So we know that modulo means remainder. For example, let's say 451, we try to divide this by 10, so we get 45 and 1 is the remainder. So the way of getting this last digit is modulo by 10. Now so let's say we got 1. Now we want this 5. So we will try to make this 451 is equal to 245, so that on doing modulo with this 45 with 10, we get 5. So that 5 can be 5 we get as the next integer, the next digit. So what we do is we divide n by 10. What happens is, let's say we have the digit 451 and we divide it by 10. The answer is 45.1. Integer division, this 1 is ignored. Okay, if you already know how to extract digits, you can skip this part. So let's, for example, we do it in Python, we do a divided by 2. So we put a double division sign, which represents integer division. Okay. Okay, so what we do is, let's say we make an array. I'm talking about the algorithm. We will discuss the code later. So we say while we still have available digits, so n is greater than 0. So we do n, let's say digit is equals to n modulo 10, and then we n, and we store this digit somewhere. So this dot append this digit, and then we cut down n from the back. So in the first iteration, let's say 542 is given, 2 is extracted from this digit, and we fill the array as 2. Next, n gets divided, so n becomes 54, and this 4 gets extracted here. So for what happens is, let's say iteration 1, so n is equals to 542, digit becomes is equals to 2, and the array becomes 2. Next, it2, what happens is n becomes 54 because n is divided by 10. Digit becomes 4 because 54 modulo 10 is 4. The array becomes 2 and 4. And in it3, n becomes 5 and digit becomes 5, so 2, 4, 5. As we can observe that doing this process gets me these digits, but in reversed order. Okay, after you see that n becomes 0, so there is no point of continuing further. So let's say we have n is equals to 2, 4, 5. Now we got the digits array as 5, 4, 2. Of course, all the digits will be between 0 and 9. For example, if the number contains 0, modulo 10 will be 0 and it will still get divided by 10, so 0 will be inserted in the array. I hope you understand. Now we have got the digits in reversed order. Now we want to form a number out of this. So the way is multiplying this 2 by 10, multiplying this 2 by 1, multiplying this 4 by 10, and multiplying this 5 by 100. So let's say the array is 5, 4, 2. So the last one is gets multiplied by 1. So 1 into 2. The second last gets multiplied by 10. And the third last, or the previous one, gets multiplied by 10, 100 into 5. Now if we add this, we get 542. So one way is traversing from the back and keep multiplying by powers of 10. So this is 1 can be written as 10 to the power 0. So what we can do is we put a for loop from let's say size digits size -1 and let's say I is greater than equal to 0, I plus plus. Let's say power we first define as 0. So, and let's say result equal to 0. So result is equals to result plus, let's say power, or let's just say multiplier, that will be easier, is equals to 1. So result equals to result plus multiplier into digits of I. So what happens is on the first iteration, this 2 gets multiplied with this multiplier 10, 1. Now in the next step we want this multiplier 2 gets multiplied by 10, like 1, then 10, then 100. Every time it's getting multiplied by 100. So what happens is we want the multiplier is equal to be into 10. So this gives me final result as 542. First the 2 comes, because we are traversing from the back, it gets added, so it's like first the result equal to 0. The 2 comes, the 2 into 1, multiplier value is 1. It gets added to the result, so result becomes 2. Then multiplier becomes 10. The next digit comes, that is 4. So 40 and gets added to the previous result, so it becomes 42. So this is IT1, IT2, IT3. By IT1, IT2, IT3 I means iteration 1, 2 and 3. So in the third we see that the digit is 5. So 5 gets multiplied by the multiplier 100, because 10 gets again multiplied by 10. So we get 542, and now the array ends. So we have found the way to generate the reverse of a number from the given number. So in the end we will just do absolute reversed number. In this our case it will be raise and minus the original number n that is given to us. Note that this n is getting destroyed while extraction of digit, because n is getting divided by 10 in every process, in every step. So we need to make a copy of n, so that, and then destroy that, or while extraction of digits we don't want to damage the original n that is given to us in the question. Okay, so let's get down to the coding part. So first we have, let's say we can make the digits array as and let's say So we are going to extract the digits, like we will follow this loop. So while n greater than 0, that is the exact same. I told you that we need to make a copy is equals to n, and we are going to damage the copy part. So this gives us the digit. Now we want to, let's append it in the digits part. And we want to cut back n from the last digit. Sorry, copy. So in the end, of course we have to reverse the number. So say let's define result equal to 0 plus, and let's define the multiplier into digits of I, and let's say okay, now we return absolute value of result minus this n that was given to us. Let's try to run if we get any compile time errors. Okay, it's getting accepted directly, so no compile time errors. Let's try to submit. We get a runtime error like sign integer overflow. Okay, so let's take this multiplier as long. I hope that will. It's almost passing, like 996. The biggest numbers are actually not X. Yeah, in the end, you see, I will tell you why this happens. The thing is, the n is up to 10 to the power 9, you see. But in the end, let's say we have 9 digits, so it's up to 10 to the power 9. Now, the problem is, in the end, the multiplier gets multiplied by 10, even though that the last iteration, that multiplier will never be used. But integers have a limit of 10 to the power 9. What will happen in the last iteration? Let's say the number is of 9 digits. The multiplier will become 10 to the power 9 into 10. Well, like in range of 10 to the power 9 into 10. So that is 10 to the power 10. So, and that causes sign integer overflow. But you see that 10 to the power 10 will never be used because the next iteration will not come because n is up to 10 to the power 9. So there can be maximum 9 digits. I hope I made myself clear. Let's go to the next question. Okay, the next question is minimum deletions to make all characters equal. So we are given a string and an array. So every element in the array represents the cost to remove that character from the string. We want to delete such that every character becomes equal in the string after deletion. So what am I thinking this is, so I am only allowed to keep one character. So I will have to delete every other character. So I am thinking that I will add up all the costs of, if I am selecting to keep this character. So I will add up all the costs, select a character, and let's say that character is 5 in number in my string. So if I decide to keep that character, so I will take the cost of that character and subtract it from the final sum. So the total sum of all the costs. So that I will get the cost of removing every other character and keep that character in my final string, and then output the minimum total deletion. That, let's say, in order to remove a, let's go to the iPad and get this in more details. Okay, it's not updating for some reason. Wait. Just give me a moment. Okay. I think we were on this note. Okay. So let's say question number 2. Okay, so let's say we have the string as AA, B, AA, C, and the cost is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then 10. So it's like if I decide to delete this first character A, it will cost me 1. If I decide to delete the second character A, it will cost me 2. So in the end, we are only allowed to keep one of the characters. For example, if I decide to keep A, so I have to delete every other character that is not A. So that is B and C. So the cost of B is 3 and cost of C is 10. So 10 plus 3, so 13 is the amount of cost that I will need to give if I decide to keep A. If I decide to keep B, then I have to delete every other character that is not B. So the total, so 1 plus 2 plus, we ignore the 3, plus 4 plus 1 plus 10. So this is 3 plus 4, 7, 8, and then 10. So 18 is the cost. So I'm adding this entire, I'm summing up the entire array, barring this 3. So not the 3 and every other. If I decide to keep C, then I have to add up every cost, like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 1. I think that is 11. So 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And you see 11 is the minimum cost. So there is I can think of an approach that I will make a map of every character and try to find out how much cost I have to spend in order to keep that character. Let's see. So I will make a map of character MP, and let's say I will go to and I will just say m of plus plus. Now I will go to I will go through this map. First, let me find out the sum. So I think there is an accumulate function. I will just copy it from my templates in order to get the sum of, yes. So this is a fast way of getting the sum of elements in a vector. Okay, this is all, so I need to this. Okay, let's forget. This may get overcomplicated. Let's say through this cost sum, let's say total sum equal to 0, and I will just so I'm adding the total cost. Now I am going through every character. So for through this map. So I want to calculate what it will cost me to keep the character A. So in cost sum minus, okay, I need to know the position of this A that I'm trying to keep. Okay, then in that case, let's sum minus, I need to find the cost of this. So let's say the cost of A is, okay, so okay, I can just add up all the costs plus equal to this. Okay, then I need this for loop to be in iterative. I less than equal to now what I will do is for every character I will sum all the costs. So mp of x plus equal to cost of I. It will not be x of then s of I. So for every character I'm adding up all the costs. So in the end we will try to see that if I decide to keep this character, that will be sum minus cost of this character. So for example, the C has the total cost of 10. So let's say one of the C's have cost 7, one of the C's have cost 2, and one of the C's have cost 1. So total cost of all the C's is 10. So total sum minus 10 is the cost to keep that character. Okay, cost, I think it's used already. Let's say cost I. Cost of the character is sum minus cost of A. And I want the minimum, so it's equal to, let's say, int max, and let's say minimum cost and cost, and let's say in the end we return okay. Let's try running this. Okay, I think the sum we have not declared. Yes, it will be total sum, not sum. I think minus cost of A. No, not, it will not be cost of A. It will be MP of keeping this character. Okay, it's getting accepted for the sample test cases. Let's try to submit. Okay, we have some runtime error. Let's see. MP of x plus equal to cost of I. Signed integer overflow. Okay, because you see the cost of, then I need the, okay, all the things to be in long would have been, okay, other than this I think let's use this test case because it's very high. Okay, let's see. Okay, one of them is long and one of them is, okay, this has to be long as well. Okay, let's try to submit now. Yeah, I did not actually see the long. Okay, yes, the total cost can be higher. Okay, then if this is long, then I have to long max. use this and let's try. Int max, yeah, the cost can be higher than int max then. Okay, let's try to submit again. Okay, it's getting accepted. Okay, so let's try to solve question number 3 now. Okay, looks like it's a hard problem. So it says that given two integers nums and forbidden, we want to perform the following operations. So choose two indices I and j and swap those. Okay, so I want to know how many swaps so that none of the pairs match up. So let's go to the iPad and see. Okay, it got stuck again for some reason. Okay, is it stuck? Well, is it okay now? Okay, every time I go to this iPad and wait, let's stop this. Okay, yes, it's working now. Let's say okay, so let's say we have 1 2 3 and 3 2 1. So 1 2 3, and I will write this on bottom only, 3 2 1. So we see that there is a conflict here, so we can swap these two. I mean, not in the second array, the first array I can swap these two, so that 1 3 2 and 3 1 2. Now none of the, okay, now it's still getting a conflict here, so let's swap these two. So 1, so 2 1 3 and 3 2 1. So I think there is no conflict now. So minimum one swap is required. Now what I'm thinking is, I think in some case the answer will not be possible. Well, this will happen when, let's say, any particular integer occurs more than n times. For example, let's go back. Let's say 1 1 1 3, and let's say this 1, and then again 1 has come. So you see, I don't care what the rest of the integers are. There is no way to resolve this conflict, because even if I swap, it will try to cause problems with the other one. So if any integer occurs more than the size of this array, so like it has already covered up this entire world. Now it is trying to cover the second world as well. So there is no way to match that conflict. But you may think that, what if they are in separate arrays? So 1 1 2 2, and let's say 1, and let's say 1 1 and then 1. Now we see that, okay, there are 3 1s here, 3 1s, so good. But you see, there is no way to match. Let's say this is 3, this is 4. Like, this can only be solved, conflict can be resolved only with something that is not 1. So let's say this gets resolved with this gets resolved with this, let's say this gets resolved with this gets resolved with this. You understand that if the number of ones exceeds n, so then there will always be a pair that cannot be solved, because let's say I have some number of ones on the top. I need to have at least that number of non-ones in the bottom. So So if I have some number of ones, we need to have some number of non-ones in that matter. But if let's say number of ones is equals to p, and p of course less than equal to n, greater than equal to 1. Now in order to resolve this one, I need to have at least p non-ones in second array. So if there are p non-ones, so how many ones are there? What is the maximum? We need at least p non-ones in the second array. So at least n minus 1, I mean at most n minus p ones can be in the second array. So if you add these up, you will get that the maximum ones that I can have, or maximum any number that I can have, is n. So I will just check that. I will check if it is impossible. So for example, let's say map of, so I will go through the full for index. I will go through both of these maps and I will count every character, every number, index through nums mp, and I will do the same for the next one, forbidden. Okay, now int n is equals to, let's say, nums dot size. Okay, so we'll go through for if b n return -1. Okay, now we have now we know that the output is always the non-possibility case has been handled. So now we are going to assume that the answer always exists. So for example, let's say we have some pairs. Let's consider the second case, 4 6 6 5. Yes, 4 6 6 5, and on the bottom I have I think we have, let's see, 4 6 5 5 5 5. Okay, so I think a possibility exists. So this is a conflict, this is a conflict, and this is a conflict. So we have 3 conflicts. Now if we have some number of conflicts, in one swap the maximum number of conflict that I can solve is 2. For example, let's say this is xy, and let's say this is yx. So if I swap, it will become, sorry, xx and yy. So if I swap, it will become yx and xy. So you see, 2 conflicts have been solved through one swap. But it will not always be the case. Let's say this is the case. Let's say u. Let's do this. Now see, if I swap, the conflicts have like yx and this yy. So one of the conflicts have been solved. Like, let's consider this as that yes, one more conflict has been created. So let's think about this differently. Let's say xy. Let's say this is xx and this is xy. Now if I perform a swap, so xx will remain and xy. But okay, let's consider this as yy. but now there is no conflict. So do we get no every time we solve two conflicts, or there is a possibility that I'm solving one of the conflicts? Let's consider this like, let's say this is a B case and this is a XY case. Now see, these two are different, so there is no conflict here, but there is a conflict here. But if we swap, it will become BX and YB. Now see, the conflict has been solved, but only one conflict has been solved. Like one of them was solved already. So we will try to solve all. We will try to be greedy and solve all the double conflicts first, and if something is remains, then we will solve that. So first let's count the number of conflicts that we have. So now we have counted the conflicts. I'm thinking if what if let's say we return conflicts plus 1 by 2. So this is basically ceiling division by 2, because in the end if the number of conflicts is odd, then we need an one extra operation. But I'm thinking that what if the number of characters is more than the conflict part? So let's say, let's go to the iPad back. Let's say I have the array as 1 1 1 1 1, and let's say 2 3, and let's say I have 1 2 3 4 5. I can have maximum 2 ones here. And let's say 2 3 4 5 6. Now this one get, okay, all the conflicts are resolved already, so let's do this 4 5. So this can be solved with this can be solved with this can be solved with this, and this can be solved with this. So no, I mean that all of these require, okay, these only have conflicts. So if we, so 2 is the answer for this. But how many conflicts do we have? I think we have only 2 conflicts. What if this is 4? I mean, okay, let's say this 1 is here. Let's say this one gets swapped with this, so it will create a new conflict. For example, this is okay, but this is not a conflict then. Okay, let's try in answering this. Okay, in the fourth case, output is -1, but the answer is 0. So it's already swapped. So 1 is present 2 times and 2 is also present 2 times. Okay, if b is greater than n, then we return -1. Not n is acceptable if any character is equal to n. Let's try submitting this. And I think I will get a wrong answer somewhere. Yes. So, okay, I think 3 test cases have failed. Let's try to debug. So 41, 18, 19, 38, 38, 38, 19, and 22, 39, 19, 7, 39, and 19. Okay, let's come back. So we have a conflict here, we have a conflict here. Okay, only 2 conflicts. So in this case we are outputting 1, so it can be solved through 1 swap. But you see that if we perform that swap, it's really getting matched again. So of course I need 2 swaps. This 19 will be required to be swapped by some other number that is not 19, but we have only 2 conflicts. So I'm thinking about, okay, wait, I think the orientation got changed. Okay, it's fine. Now I'm thinking that if the frequency of an element is 4 in the array, can that element be solved with less than 4 swaps? Okay, I think my phone's battery is running out. I think we will solve it before it. I'm thinking that, let's say I have 19 2 times and those 2 are conflicting. Now, is there a way to solve this with less than 2 swaps for 19 only? Like, let's say this was not 19, let's say copy this. Okay, let's say this so this 19 is so this is not 19, this is 40 or maybe. Now we have one conflict and that can be solved through one operation. So I need minimum of 2 operations, I think. Like, wait, this is 19. So the total frequency is 4. So either it will get swapped or it will cause a conflict. So if it gets swapped, then good, the answer is 1. But if it doesn't get swapped, then the answer is total frequency divided by 2, right? So I will just answer the max of that. Okay. Okay, let's calculate max of int u is equals to 0. Let's go through this map. Let's say u is equals to max of u comma b by 2. Okay, so v is equals to, let's say, this. Right. So I return the max of u and v. Right, is this? I think this will work. But in this case, okay, I understand. This will not work that way. I need to calculate the conflicts for similar numbers. Like, those can only be solved with double swaps. Like, for example, let's say 1 1 is a conflict and that has occurred 3 times. So that conflict can only be solved by, okay, so what I will do is I will make a map here. Okay, even though that will be same, so if a and b is same, I mean, if it is conflict, so it's equal, so I will count the conflicts for every number. So conflict of every possible number. So conflict of 1 is, let's say, 4. 2 in this case the conflict for 19 is 2. Only max of no, I want the not the total frequency, I want the conflict frequency. So map of int equal conflicts. Let's say okay, so I will need this. If so equal conflicts plus plus. Equal conflicts I plus plus. Not the total number of conflicts, but the equal conflicts. And I will say u is equals to 0. So u and let's go through this map now for b through equal conflicts. U is equals to max u comma, I think at least equal, that many is required. Okay, so the number of conflicts for 19 is 2, right? So number of conflicts for 19 is 2. So 19 can, okay, let's print out this equal conflicts. Let's give it a line break. Okay, so 2151. Equal conflicts of I, sorry, it should be nums of I. Okay, even though I have an output, so it may cause a TLE. It's accepted. So the thing is, let's say we have equal in conflicts for a particular number. So it's like blobs. To solve that number, let's say the highest equal conflict is 3. So there are 3 pairs of equal conflicts. So total number of swaps that are required cannot be less than 3. Because, yeah, I hope that I will not be trying the last question. Okay, let's try the last question. Let's see what it says. Total number of interactions in 3 groups. I will post this solution later. That's it for, I think the video has got very long. So let's keep it here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you understood the questions and the solutions. Okay. Goodbye. Have a great day and subscribe, like, and whatever if you like my content.